Biden took his campaign to battleground Pennsylvania yesterday. In the morning, he delivered remarks at a predominantly black church in Philadelphia where he touted his first-term accomplishments and remained adamant about staying in the 2024 race.
I've always felt the power of your faith in good times and in tough times. The fact is, the scripture says, all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Our purpose is to serve others. That's our purpose. To know everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity and respect. To know faith without works is dead. We're all called to be doers of the world. In this nation, that means keeping our eyes on the North Star, the very idea of America, that we're all created equal in the image of God and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect our entire lives. We've never fully lived up to that, but we've never fully walked away from it either. And that's because of you and generations before you who led the church from slavery to freedom, always praying, always believing that joy cometh in the morning. You've never given up. In my life, and as your president, I've tried to walk my faith. Folks, I know with every fiber of my being, I know I'm going to look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit. The bishop and I were talking about that. It's heck turning 40. Well, all kidding aside, you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together. I really mean it. Here's what else I've learned, and many of you have learned. You walk your faith as well. We're all imperfect beings. We don't know where or what fate will deliver us to or when. What we do know is that we can seek a life of light, hope, love, and truth no matter what. We can seek that life. Take all of our experiences and give everything we have to work together, because when we do, you can't stop us. I mean this sincerely. When I ran the first time for president, I said something basic. I said we have to bring back dignity and hope in America. Number one. Number two, we have to give working class and middle class people like the family I came from a shot and build the economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. And thirdly, we must unite America again. That's my goal. That's what we're going to do. God bless you all, and may God direct our troops.
Oh, wow. Join the conversation, we have co-founder and CEO of Axios, Jim VandeHei, senior political columnist for Politico, Jonathan Martin, and Pulitzer Prize-winning author and presidential historian, Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Jim VandeHei, we got a split screen here. Well, we got a light up here. We're almost Brady Bunch like here. But Jim VandeHei, I've been talking this morning about what the base is saying. Polls aren't quite as bad as a lot of Democrats thought they were going to be. And I have been absolutely bombarded by texts, we will just say, by people charitably that others might call the elites. And of course, we're not elites. As you know, I'm just a poor country lawyer that falls off a turnip truck every morning, does this show. So, but we'll just say these elites are my good friends. And they're going, wait, Biden's going to lose. Democracy's over. And I think what's so fascinating is you really do have a divide between elected leaders, between the rich and powerful, and then those like in the Congressional Black Caucus, people in that Philadelphia church where Biden had one of his better events in a long time, better days in a long time. There does seem to be a divide right now between sort of the establishment and the Democratic base that appears to want to keep Joe Biden in the race.
There's no doubt that there's a pretty big divide. I think there's a lot of House members, particularly those that are in swing states or in swing districts, who are deeply concerned, right? If there wasn't a real problem, if they weren't hearing from the base, if they weren't hearing from voters, you wouldn't have people huddling with Hakeem Jeffries yesterday and expressing the concern, including some calls, additional calls for the president to step aside if it weren't real. And that's kind of what we're locked at. You've got the president who, you talk to him, right? Like, he's not backing down. He's not getting out. He's said that. He believes that, against a lot of Democrats who are really at their breaking point. And there'll be a lot more conversations today. But I don't agree that it's just the elite media or it's just donors, because members of Congress are fundamentally about self-preservation. That self-preservation rests on the ability to get a majority of the vote. So when they're talking to their own voters, that's when they get this level of concern. And that's why when you see senior members of the House delegation, like you did on that call yesterday, express concern, you can safely assume it's much more widespread. That doesn't mean that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer go to the White House and beg the president to step aside, but it is possible, and there is still enough concern that pressure is on them. And I think sometime in the next week, you're going to have people like the Obamas, you're going to have people like Jeffries or Schumer, one way or the other, come out and say emphatically either people should put a sock in it or the president should think seriously about stepping aside.
All right. J. Mark, what say you? This is, I mean, you've been out and have seen what's been going on. There does seem to be a massive divide in the Democratic Party. Either way you cut this, it's good for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I wrote a column this morning about this divide, and frankly, it's Biden's last line of defense, Joe. I think Biden's playbook now is to try to rerun 2019 and 2020, where he effectively framed the opposition to him as that coming from white liberals, while he had the grassroots base of blacks, Latinos, and labor. And I think that's what he's trying to do now. He has no other choice. This is his only path out. But it does increase, I think, the relevance of the CBC in this entire dynamic this week, because Biden is putting so much stock in this defense from black lawmakers and black folks in the grassroots that if any of them do turn, it's going to be all the more decisive against Biden. But, Joe, I couldn't help but notice on that call yesterday that Jim mentioned, you know, all the ranking members who called for Biden to step aside, with one exception, were white. What I want to know is, will there be any defections in the Black Caucus? And what's happening, I can tell you there, that folks like Maxine Waters and Jim Clyburn, the elders in the Black Caucus, are emphatically for Biden, which sends a message to the younger members of the Black Caucus to stick on board. Can Biden retain that support this week? And if he can, it's going to be crucial.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.